So, the proper pronunciation of your last name?
Frishberg.
Frishberg.
Yes.
So it sounds Jewish. Is that a Jewish family?
Yes, it's a Jewish family.
And how far back does the Jewish family go? Because you're from New York,
Right.
So, and I'm a Canadian, and we've always heard of the New York Jews.
Yeah.
And it's like a major community that actually started, I think, was it just before World War II or right after?
It was way before.
Way before.
Yeah.
So what would be the origination?
My grandparents were all in Ukraine, which was Russia.
Yeah.
And they heard about capitalism. And they heard
that novel concept of doing what you want and make money,
Yeah, and they were smart. And they wanted to be part of it. And so independently, my two sets of grandparents didn't know each other at all. But they both ended up doing the same thing. And he's finding a way on a boat to get over to New York. And I guess my mom's parents landed in New York and ended up in Oklahoma. And then they...
What year was this?
Oh, gosh, must have been like 1910, 1920.
Okay.
Yeah, and so, yeah, actually, my mother's parents got in trouble because they were hiring black people. And they started getting crosses burned on their lawn and everything. So that's how they got back.
This is way after the civil rights movement. No, this is way before the civil rights movement.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah. So they ended up moving up to New York City, and my father's parents came directly and settled in Brooklyn and stayed there. Wrote books.
So your mom and dad met. Yeah. What year?
Oh, I don't know. I guess she was 27 when I was born. I guess probably 5 years before I was born. So 85 years ago.
85 years ago. So what year was that? What year were you born?
1945.
So 1940.
No, 85.
If you were born in 45, they would have met somewhere around 1940. You won't be. Yeah. All I'm looking for is the levels.
Yeah, I have a microphone right here.
Yeah. So, 1940 they met.
No, more like 19. 40. Yeah, my mother and father met. Yeah.
Okay.
In 1940. Yeah.
And they were both Jewish.
Yes.
Okay, so between 40 and 45, there was a lot of crazy shit going on in the world.
Right. But not in New York.
No, but they were Jews and they were aware of what was happening to their families back home. Did they still have family back home?
No, they didn't have family back home.
Everybody had left.
Yeah, and it wasn't going on in Russia. It was going on in Germany.
True.
Russia was on our team.
Our team, yeah, it's a good way to put it. It's funny how that worked out, eh?
Yeah.
So, 1945, you come along. And your father, he was in his 30s at this point.
Yeah.
And what did he do for a living?
He was a salesman. He had he did construction, porches and jalousies and aluminum add-ons and stuff.
Yeah. So around 1960, you're a 15-year-old boy, and you were doing well in school?
No.
No?
Not really.
No?
No, I didn't. I never got good grades. I was always talked too much.
Were you treated well though as a New York Jew in the New York system of schools?
Well, I went to private schools for most of.
So your parents actually found a way to pay for the private schools?
Oh yeah.
Do you think that made a difference for you?
It wasn't that. My grandfather was an author, and he had a lot of fans, and so the Hebrew schools, they mostly the principals had studied my grandfather's work and everything. So
what was he specifically writing about?
He was writing about educating and continuing the culture. So it was called Ivris B'Ivris. Teaching the language by using the language rather than the way they do it now, where they make a vocabulary and you memorize the vocabulary. They just speak it. If you want something, you learn how to speak.
So was it more colloquialism that he promoted, or
Well, he just promoted
not Old English?
teaching Hebrew with Hebrew.
Oh, you're talking about Hebrew, not English.
No, Hebrew.
So he wrote all his stuff. So you learned Hebrew as a young man.
Yeah, and the people that were running these private schools were his fans.
Right. Okay. No, the reason I asked that question is because I understood that being Jewish in New York in the 50s was hard.
No, I've never found it hard.
No,
My
but you stayed with the tribe.
My family never found it hard.
Good.
No, we didn't stay with anybody. We just never had any problem.
Were you a practicing Jew when you were young?
Well, I went to Hebrew school, so
Yeah.
yes, in school they were doing that. My family was pretty conservative, reform.
And a lot of that would have informed your attitude and your perspective and your beliefs in life.
I guess. Yeah.
So now in between 15 and 20, it was the time for you to start looking into the universities and colleges. Did you end up doing one of those?
No, I actually joined the Marine Corps at 17.
See, that's what I wondered about.
Yeah.
Because I read somewhere that you were actually, one of the most famous things that you're known for is you were a machine gunner.
I was.
And where was this?
Vietnam. And I was on the Iwo Jima, which is a carrier very much like the carriers they're using now. And it was a helicopter carrier.
Mm-hmm.
And I lived on it for a year. And we would go on sorties where they would just put us in helicopters and we would go landing.
Mm-hmm.
This was not the heat of the Vietnam War. This was the beginning of it.
In what year?
We're skirmishes. Well,
69.
I guess, no, I guess I got out of it in 65.
So you went in
62.
You stayed for 3 tours?
No, 62 to 65.
That's 3 tours.
That's 3 years, 1 tour.
I thought 1 tour was 1 year.
No.
Okay, you know all the movies, right? They do the countdown of 1 year tour as a tour, and then they sign up for another.
I don't know.
Back then, that you had to stay for 3 years.
Now they stay for 4 years, 3 years.
Right.
It's always been that way.
But during the war, when you're actually going to war, though,
yeah,
you signed up.
It was.
You signed up while there was a war
the
going on. What was wrong with you?
I signed up before the war.
Oh, okay.
And I got in there, and then while I was in Paris Island, they started to have skirmishes.
Right.
And then when I graduated from there, there was starting to have more skirmishes.
So your experience there, what was that like?
Fear.
Yeah.
Just afraid of being selected. I was afraid I was going to get picked to go on this sortie.
Right, and that was a constant fear for 3 years.
Well, no, for about a year and a half.
Year and a half.
They sent me back to California for the 1965, and then actually that war was really heating up, and I was about to I did get extended. They were going to bring me back. They needed machine gunners in Vietnam. But a college in New York backdated the acceptance and said that I had been accepted already, and so...
Well, you wanted to go to school then, I bet.
Yes, exactly. Right.
So what did you study?
Liberal arts.
Liberal arts. You completed a degree?
No.
No, didn't complete that. So now we're getting into almost 1970?
Yeah, 69.
69, 70.
60, well, I graduated high school in 62.
Right.
Then went to Marine Corps, and then I came back to college in 65, so 69, 70.
What was next for you after that?
Well, I had, when I was a kid, I had been, my grandfather took me to the New York Stock Exchange and introduced me. He had a lot of fans there, and so I was interested in it, and they let me come in the members entrance, and I was like a mascot, and they taught me all about stocks and the economy in a capitalist way that most people never get to see. These were professionals with seats on the exchange,
right?
Which now it's all electronic, but at that time it was really all in person.
That was the time when they were on the floor with the paper trades and everything,
That's
and
right.
it was a complete craziness.
That's right. They were trading.
You enjoyed that environment.
I loved it.
Well, after being in Vietnam, this was calm.
No, I did that when I was 13 years old.
Oh, you were doing that prior too, so you
Yeah,
knew you
before.
wanted to be in the stock exchange later.
No, I
I'm
never
getting
really
the
thought
timeline a
about
little
it.
confused.
No, I knew about it and I understood it.
Yeah.
No, I never thought about it. When I met Alicia, that's when she's the one with the creative ideas, as you
Yes.
observed.
Yes.
Yeah, so
The brains behind the
she
operation.
was the brains of the operation. That's
That's
right.
so respectful of you to speak that way of your
Well,
wife.
it's a fact. I knew about this, but I never did anything.
Right.
Alicia is the one with ambition and instinct, and she knows what to do next, and she always has. And so that's what happened. I was a smart kid with unique information that most people never get to see, but I
Right.
didn't do anything with it. Until when I met her, she said, "Oh my God, you could do exciting things, and I can make you famous." And I said, "What is that?" And she knew how to do it right away.
And she was how old at this time?
She was 25.
A Filipino girl who had
Who
immigrated.
barely could, right, who had a very thick accent
Yeah.
at the time.
Yeah.
But she was just
And she was
smart.
like
Well, she had come
powerful
over.
woman at
She
that
came
age.
by herself
Yeah.
as a child, as an early teenager.
Right.
She went to college, and right after college, she came to America.
Mm-hmm.
And then after a while, she sent herself to law school. She realized that's who makes the money, and so. Not even knowing how to order food, basically.
Right.
But she picked up the language enough and went to college,
Mhm.
went to law school. Got a
This
degree.
woman transformed your life. She changed the direction of your life completely.
Completely changed.
How did you get so lucky to have this woman pick you?
Pure luck.
Explain.
Pure luck.
Because this is a story that just never happens. I mean, us guys, we're usually trying to, pick the girl for whatever, our needs are at the moment.
Well, I was
But this
trying
is
to
a
pick-
powerful woman you've just described.
Well, that's right. But she was also very pretty and beautiful, and I was picking up girls. I'd come to Houston,
Yeah.
and I was just picking up girls and living, doing construction, doing all kinds of dumb
Yeah.
stuff. And I met Alicia, and she was so beautiful, I wasn't really thinking about anything else.
You wanted to step up your game.
Step up the game, that's
Yeah.
right. But then she turned out to be so smart, and she said she had been interested. She came to the U.S. because she was interested in Wall Street.
Right.
And when I met her, she had these 3x5 index card in her pocket that had stock symbols on it.
Wow.
I said, "Oh my God, the luckiest day of my life. The one thing I know about in the world." That's right. So so once we got to talking, she said, "Oh my God, I never heard any of that stuff.
Mhm.
And I can make you famous." I said, "I don't understand what that means," and she called Lorne Michaels, who was the producer of
It's,
Saturday Night Live,
yeah.
which was a new show at that time.
How did she know him?
She didn't know him. She just is Alicia. That's how she does it.
I can't.
She called Alicia.
I'm going to have to interview her as well.
Of course, you'd be crazy not to.
It sounds like it.
Yeah.
But so she calls him
normally
up.
she makes me look like the star, and so I'm the one that gets all the interviews, but she's actually the behind the scenes thinking about it.
My God, you know what I really want to learn from her is
No kidding.
what kind of a man do you have to be to attract a woman like that? That's something I want young men to understand.
I like to hear that one.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
But anyway, so she called up the producer of what was becoming a hit show,
Yeah.
Saturday Night Live, and she said, "How do you get those stars on there? I can see you don't have any money.
Yeah.
How do you get those stars?" And he told her, "Those are actually used to be first-rate stars, and now they're not a big star anymore, but they have a book or they have a TV deal or something, and so they come on here for scale."
Mm-hmm.
And that's how. So she said, "Where do you get them?" And they said, William Morris Agency in L.A. So Alicia jumped on a plane, went to William Morris, and made friends with them, and got these guys to put their stars on my radio show that she invented.
Does
And
anybody ever say no to this woman?
never.
Never.
But you know, that's what happened. If you have Doris Day
Yeah.
on the radio in San Antonio, Texas, they're talking about you on TV all day,
You're right.
right? And so she kind of made me famous by doing that.
Yeah.
And she managed to get me to be interviewed on the Chicago Board Options Exchange all the time.
Right.
And
So you
I was
became
ending
the
up
expert.
getting hits on Mark Haynes, which was Squawk Box, and so they became interested in me. They started inviting me to New York and to Chicago to the television shows.
Yeah.
It was all engineered by Alicia. Fortunately, I was able to do it. I knew how to do it.
Yeah.
I didn't
She
know
saw
how.
something in you.
Yeah.
What do you think she saw in you at the time that made her think this is a man I could
we just
mold into an incredible?
I think we just had great chemistry.
Yeah.
And we were nice-looking people. She was beautiful, and I was very interested. And I think I just got lucky. I don't think she necessarily had a plan.
Yeah.
But I think she saw that I knew some stuff that intrigued her.
Yeah.
And so, but I think we already had the chemistry anyway.
That's amazing. Do you guys have children together?
Yeah, we do.
How many?
We have 3 children and 5 grandchildren now.
Wow.
And new ones coming all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Coming all the time. Non-stop.
Yeah, another one coming in a couple of months.
Right.
Yeah, they're just.
And they all turned out all right?
Oh, yeah.
She was
yeah.
a good, strong mother as well as a good, strong
mother
wife and
father,
a business person.
That's right.
Is there anything she
our
couldn't
kids,
do?
None of them took drugs. None of them did anything.
That's amazing.
They all did great in school, came out, have great careers.
Yeah. Was there anything she couldn't do that frustrated you?
Not really.
No way.
No, I was.
There was no
happiest,
challenge or
luckiest
no
guy in the
problem that you guys ran up against that between you couldn't solve.
Well, yeah. Well, no, we're both very aggressive.
Yeah.
And so we bump heads a lot.
Okay.
And we used to fight a lot. We don't do it so much anymore because we just realized that.
She's always right.
Well, I think it's more that we just realized that it doesn't get us anywhere. And then when
Big
we
waste of
stop
time.
it, we never go back to what we were fighting about.
Right.
It never was about that. It just was about being aggressive.
Maybe you need to let off some steam.
Yeah, something like that. But we do it much less now.
Yeah. You're 85 now.
80.
80.
Yeah.
I added too many years.
Yeah.
So, and she's actually a little bit younger than you.
She's 65.
So she's 15 years younger. She
Right.
sees you, and you weren't really much of anything at that point.
I was, right.
And she decides.
But I was probably a smart kid, but I wasn't.
You're absolutely. I mean, even when I first met you, your intelligence is extremely obvious. And, she's very gregarious, and it was obvious she had a lot of intelligence, too. So there's no way she was going to meet up with a guy who was less intelligent. So that was probably her first attraction to you. And she also knew that you had some abilities that probably you hadn't even discovered yet.
Right.
Now, you went into
exactly
the radio.
how it
Yeah,
was.
that's it. That is, I think,
Yes.
and that's where it's going to be interesting to ask her what it is she was looking for and how she found it, because a lot of people, they don't know, they're picking wrong partners, and that's why the divorce rate is so high. So you got into radio.
And I had a few divorces before I met her.
Wow.
But we've been together for 40 years, and I never even considered doing anything
You'd be
else.
an idiot to walk away from a woman like that.
That's right.
You know how rare they are? I can tell you, I'm a 60-year-old guy, and let's say I've dated a lot of women. Never once have I met a woman as powerful as Elise.
Right.
Seriously, never.
That's true.
So you actually ended up owning several radio stations. That was her idea.
Yes,
Yeah.
it was.
And that was quite profitable. And when you sold them all, you had now had a bunch of money, but you also had the ability to invest. Was this when you actually started to get seriously into the whole market? Because you are most well known now as somebody who guides others in investment, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so tell me the transition from the radio stuff, and then taking the wealth and then turning it
first
into
I started doing TV.
Yeah.
Hits on CNBC and Fox and all that, and it was really all about what are you investing in, what are you buying, what are you selling, and I was doing 5-10 minute hits.
Yeah.
And so it just developed. we were already well known before she had the idea of doing the radio stations.
Sure.
And so we did the radio stations. And
Yeah, why be a guest when you can own the
it
thing?
just got more and more popular. And,
Sure.
And
did you syndicate your own show on all the stations?
my show was on all the stations.
Yeah, and
yes.
were you able to syndicate it into other stations as well?
Yeah, there were a few stations that carried it. Salem Broadcasting was always interested in us. That's a big, and they were always interested in us to start with, and they ended up buying all the stations.
Now that would be Salem, Oregon, or Salem, Massachusetts?
Salem, no, neither. It's Salem Broadcasting is
out of New York.
They're now in California.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, they weren't. It wasn't named after Salem, a city. They were a Christian station, and they had religious shows, but it was all talk shows.
Gotcha.
And
so you were obviously quite good at talk radio.
Yeah, I was good at talk radio.
You were very good at it, and she saw that as well and realized that this was one of the paths.
I don't know if she knew that or it was just a surprise.
No, this woman's clairvoyant, dude.
Well,
literally, she had visions that you couldn't even imagine.
That's
now,
true.
let's transition over from media stuff to when you started as being a serious investor, and then eventually guiding others, because you've made people millions, from my understanding.
Yes.
All right, and this is in New York, which is highly competitive, yet people listen to you.
Well, it was everywhere, really. But once it's media, it's everywhere.
No, I'm talking about your investment. You created a fund, didn't you?
No, actually, we just had money under management. It was just...
Was it you were the one managing, or you had someone else?
No, I was the one managing.
And at one point, you were up to $1 billion in funds managed?
That's right. And you make a lot of money doing that.
Well, sure you
I was
do.
making like 1.5% a year, and just kept growing.
Yeah. What was so different about you? I mean, everybody I've met, that is an advisor, fund manager, they think they know the market. They think they know what they're doing. What was different?
They don't think they know anything. They just are all telling the same thing.
Yeah.
And they are buying exchange-traded funds. That's generally the S&P 500, or they may mix in some bonds. They don't really know.
So what was different about
you?
What did you know?
I actually knew how to make money. I was actually buying companies because I could see that they were valuable.
The Warren Buffett approach.
Similar, yeah. I guess you could put it that way.
Well, from my understanding of Warren's, Mr. Buffett, Warren, however people refer to him, him and Charlie, they didn't do the sell, buy and sell. They found companies that produced good products.
Right, but and they were
that were consumables.
That's right. But if you're gonna actually know what, buy a company for a reason, there aren't that many reasons. It's that they make, you know how much money they make, you know how much profit they make on their sales, and you know how much you expect that to increase over the years. And so what you're buying is the future growth.
So you looked at the company's past, you studied the management, you looked at their marketing plans, you looked at their marketing budget.
That's right. You imagine who are the buyers and who is the population of people that have to have what that company does.
Right.
And that company is doing something unique that nobody can copy, or that's impossible to copy.
Sounds simple. So why aren't all the big funds doing it?
Because they're not that smart. Some of them use some of these ideas, but remember that their job is to grow, and they just want to do stuff that people are going to buy. They're not really thinking about how. Well, I worked at Prudential Bache. I worked at a couple of them early in my career. They had no idea about how to invest money. In fact, that was what happened. I was so annoyed by it that's why we started doing it ourselves. They had no idea how to make money.
Wow. So you did that for how many years, or are you still doing it?
Still doing it. But Alicia is the manager.
Of course.
And she's got a lot of money under management.
And now she fully understands.
She fully understands.
Yeah. So you taught her how to do that.
Well,
and
picked it up. I don't know if I taught her, but we did it. We were always collaborating together.
Right. Did she ever argue with you about a specific investment decision and turned out to be right?
Of course.
That's an honest answer, honestly, really. What about what's next for you? I mean, you're 80 years old. You're on a cruise right now. You came with a whole bunch of people.
What happened was that I interviewed a couple of people who I didn't really know how people became $100 billion net worth, $200 billion net worth. I never really understood that.
Sure.
But I learned about it. At least he used to get these very smart people.
Yeah.
I had Bill Gates on the radio one time, and he talked to me about how somebody had gotten him to give them. He borrowed money to take Microsoft public, borrowed a couple of $1 million, and the guy said to him, "You're paying me a fair amount to lend you this couple of $1 million, and I like what you're doing, but if you fail, I'm never going to see you again."
Right.
So if you're planning to sell that stock $24 a share, you told me, I need a contract right now that says that I can acquire as much of that company that you build at $24 a share, as much as I want, whenever I want. And he said 8 years later, he ran into that guy, and the guy made 10 times as much money as he did.
No.
He's working 14 hours a day running Microsoft. And this guy made way more money than he did because the guy had acquisition contract rights to buy Microsoft.
So that was the key.
Gates said, well, he went back and sold all his stock back to Microsoft and got them to issue him options, about long-term options, not the options that kids speculate on, but acquisition rights. That was the first time I saw that, and then I saw a couple more people who made themselves rich with acquisition rights, and I realized that's very much like what people intuitively do when they see a real estate. They want to buy that. They want to buy that property, and so they get an option on it. And, but people's brains don't work, and they never really put it together. But that's where we made our money, was creating acquisition rights on companies that we knew were going to grow. Right. And so we ended up.
So you locked in the share value.
10, 20, 30 times our money on things that other people were making 10% a year.
I'd never heard of it. Acquisition rights is a completely new concept and term to me. And you're still doing this.
Yeah.
But your fund, you must have a limited number of subscribers, because you can't just keep taking on more and more. Or
actually, she's managing money, and she's managing, I don't know, a lot of millions.
Yeah.
But because she's regulated, she's very limited in how much of that she can do.
Right.
Remember that the regulators are $60,000 a year cops. They don't know anything.
Right.
And so she has to be doing what is
within the structure.
That's right. So she does as much as possible of this, but we've been able, with the people that actually have the money to be doing that, are able to say, I don't care about the regulation. I choose, writes her a letter and says, this is what I want you to do. I want you to do what you're doing with your money.
Yeah.
And so she has a lot of people that she does that for. But
have you had bad years?
Not really, no.
So it's been steady growth.
There's bad years in the markets, but that's not the time that you're going to make the money.
But how did you survive 2008 when all these other companies were just being destroyed? Did you see the crisis?
2008 was a tremendous opportunity.
It was, for sure, for some people.
Because everything became cheap, very much like COVID, and very much like what's happening now.
Did people approach you with those subprime deals and all the ones that basically crashed the market? Were you aware they were happening?
No, we saw it happening, but we saw everything get cheap. That's all.
Yeah.
We just saw everything
So you picked it up on the other end, and now
we bought them because they were cheap.
Yeah.
Because,
oil's going up like crazy right now.
Well, it's yes, it has gone up quite a bit.
But you're not a speculator.
I am a speculator.
Are you?
Sure, but I don't know that oil is going to continue to increase in value. I'm looking at things that I know are going to be worth more money. Once it's up there and everybody's yelling about it, everybody's fighting over it. That's not really what we want to buy.
Right. So you don't buy the oil on speculation. You buy the guys who are building the refineries.
Yeah, and I can see that the reconstruction of the world. Half the world doesn't have electricity. You know.
That's true.
Well, it's not the electricity that I'm interested in, but how are they going to get electricity?
You're investing in the people that are building the infrastructure.
That's right. They're going to build copper wires running all over the place and copper into their houses. And
see, everything you're saying, it sounds logical and simple, yet that's not what I've ever heard throughout my life whenever people approached me for investment, to invest with them and to trust them with my money. They weren't talking about the guy building the infrastructure, the guy building the manufacturing plant. They're talking, buy the product rather than the person creating the way of getting the product.
The world is full of people who try to create a career for themselves.
Yes.
And they make up something to sell.
Right.
And it's not really, they don't really have anything. They just make up a story to go with it.
And you've been seeing those stories your whole life.
That's right, but I also see people with $200 billion net worths, and I can see what they do, and they don't do anything like what those.
All right, so give me a 5-minute class on how a person right now who's working a job, making $70,000 a year, his wife is making $50,000, $60,000 a year. They're young, they're in their 20s. What should they do starting today that will help them have a chance at some wealth in their lives?
We actually wrote and created a 5-hour course and a 25 and a whole year course.
Really?
On teaching people how to do that. Yeah.
And you're going to share that information with us so that we can pass it on?
Oh,
I'm assuming
sure.
this course is subscription based.
Yeah, you can buy the 5-lesson course.
Sure.
And I'll tell you a very interesting thing that I learned about that. And then there's a full year course.
Right.
For people that really want to understand once they get inspired and they're making a lot of money.
Sure.
Now they want to learn more.
Yeah.
And so they end up. There's a course for $25,000 that's a whole year.
Yeah.
It's 40 lessons and it's a big deal. But the regular normal one, which is $5,000, and I think she lowered it to $3,000 for this cruise. But that's about how people can actually learn the skills of how to do this.
And that's the skills of how to trade on their own, or how to choose someone.
How to understand what company is really how to understand the future, how much profit that company is going to make, and how much it's going to grow.
How to read a financial statement.
Yes, and how to anticipate what it's going to do, and how to get something that's going to be unique. Alicia will, if you're going to.
I definitely want to.
She's got a list of 6 characteristics of companies that always grow in value.
But wouldn't it be easier if I just if we tell these people they can either learn how to do it, which a lot of people will opt to, because I'm assuming you have a minimum investment before you even pay attention to somebody's.
Well, I'm not a money manager.
No, but she is.
I'm retired. Yeah, no, actually, she's very kind, and so she has minimums, of course.
Yeah.
But when she sees somebody that deserves to know, and they want to know, and they're motivated, she takes some very small. That's not her business,
right?
But she takes some people with virtually no money at all and starts teaching them how to do it.
We're not taught in schools financial education at all. But it's one of the greatest.
No, but look, you have to understand, we're a species that's made to be poor with a few rich people.
Yeah.
The tribe that had a lot of generals lost the war 1,000,000 years ago.
Right.
The tribe that won the war was the one with a couple of generals and a lot of privates.
Right.
That's who won the war.
Sure.
And that's who we've inherited. That's our species.
Yeah.
Our species wouldn't work if it was too many leaders and not
No,
enough
you're absolutely
followers.
right. I mean, philosophically
Right.
and practically, that actually is very insightful. So, what are the greatest lessons that you've learned in life, be it through failure or through tragedy, that you want now from 80 years of life experience, that you'd pass on to people in their 20s and 30s that they could avoid or that they should pay attention to?
Instead of clever ideas and this new technology that's going to contribute to AI and they're going to build cooling systems for data centers.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's like 20 people trying to do that. And as I talk to people here on this cruise too, they're thinking about some clever, unique idea.
Sure.
I'm thinking about things that I know have to happen, like we were talking about, that they're going to build out a grid all over the Eastern world. They're going to wire it. It's all going to be made out of copper.
Sure.
And then they're going to rebuild the grid in the United States, and it's going to be all made out of copper. So these guys are trying to figure out who's going to make the cooling system and who's going to make this AI thing. And they're just going to buy the copper from me.
Right. So you're the
I'm
guy
buying
during
long-term acquisition rights.
So during the gold rush, you're the guy selling the shovels.
That's exactly right. Well, now I'm buying the gold mines because they're using the gold to try to hedge about everything they're worried about.
And the copper mines.
Right. So
how about silver?
That's right. Silver too.
Silver important?
Absolutely.
Actually, I know a fellow up in British Columbia that's developing a silver mine. I should put you in touch with him.
Yeah, silver's really a better conductor than copper. It's just expensive. So
Sure.
Copper's next best. So we use copper. Yeah, but the point is, here's a company I know it's going to grow. I don't need a new one. I need one that's established, well run, and I know it's going to.
They've already made a lot of mistakes.
Yeah, and they may exactly. They know when it's going to grow, and so I can make. I used to have to do it myself, and that is go to the company and make a deal and say I would like to have a contract that says I can buy, like what the people did with Mike.
That was a big lesson for you.
That's true, but now the market makers who take the stocks public also sell those long-term options. They sell mostly short-term options that kids are buying and speculating on, but they also have 2 and 3 year options.
Right.
And I can buy them easily now because they're there, and you'll see that they're not doing any business. Nobody wants them. You can see that here's Alphabet, Google, 500 million shares a day are traded, and the option that I own on Google, the 2 year option, 3 of them were sold today.
Wow.
11.
Really?
People don't know how to do it. They don't do it.
What do you think of crypto?
I think it's personally, it's a big waste of time, and who needs it?
Warren said the same thing, and a lot of other investors say the same thing.
Because
but BlackRock's getting into it.
That's right. Because if you understand how the whole idea of currency arose, the first thing that happened was that the chief had an army, and he said, "We're going to make shells, and instead of you trading." And you want that guy's daughter, he has to want a goat. So you can only get the girl from a guy who wants a goat because all you have is a goat, right?
Right.
Trading is very awkward and not efficient.
Right.
And so eventually some smart chief said, those black shells on that beach, we're going to call that currency.
Yeah.
And I'm going to defend it.
Yeah.
And anybody that doesn't take it, I'm going to defend it. And if somebody tries to counterfeit it, I'm going to defend it, right? Because I have the army.
Sure.
So the thing about dollars and yen is that they're issued by somebody that's got control of that millions of people and has an army. The cryptocurrency, they don't have an army. They just made this thing.
That's interesting. No one's ever described it this way.
Well, I mean, think about if one country like China said, that's it, no crypto is allowed, it already almost happened, went down from 120,000 down to 60,000
Yeah.
where it's stuck.
Yeah.
But if China said, we're not going to allow crypto in our country anymore, it would go down to $100 that day.
Yeah.
There's no.
So what is keeping governments from just saying this is not going to be a form of currency?
I guess they
and
don't
allowing
care.
it?
Well, in this case, Trump's government is actually issuing them, and they're starting to do. They're calling them stable coins,
Yeah.
which are actually backed by dollars.
Sure.
So our government figured out a way to benefit from the crypto instead
Right.
of stopping it. And so what's
But
happening?
the dollars
is,
aren't backed by much.
Pardon?
The dollars aren't actually backed by much. Dollars are just created because
They're backed by our country.
that's it. But it's
Our country is the strongest power in the world.
so we used to have the dollar was backed by gold. The Brentwood Agreement forced everybody into it. Then they decided in the 70s, Nixon said it's no longer backed by gold because people started to call in their chips. I think it was France actually that pulled back and said, we now want to call in our gold.
That's very good. You understand the history of that. That's exactly what happened.
And then it turned out that by removing the gold standard, everybody was still stuck to because of the Brentwood Agreement.
Right.
All the oil had to be purchased in dollars.
That's right.
Now, recently, Iran is trying to change it to turn it into yuan, which, of course, the average individual doesn't want yuans. They want U.S. dollars.
Yeah,
The ubiquitousness of the U.S. dollar sitting in every single till, in every single country, in every part of the world, where I can go in any country and buy gum and get change in U.S. dollars. No other currency does that. Mm-hmm. It took 40 years to get the amount of money printed to be able to have the dollars in every country. That's the power of the U.S. dollar, is it not?
Yes. And so if I can make a deal using, I'm not trading dollars, but what I'm doing is I'm trading in a place, I'm making transactions in a place where they actually can enforce the regulations and do enforce the regulations.
Yes, you're protected.
So I can't get screwed.
Sure.
Exactly. So which means that I can actually find a way to have something that's guaranteed and use it and grow rapidly. And so we can create enormous leverage.
Yeah. So China is a very strong country. They've been still slowly growing. And from what we understand, you're seeing the world view from an 80-year-old man's perspective, having seen the world go through so many changes. Mm-hmm. You're seeing it also from a financial perspective. What do you see is going on now, and what do you see in the next 5-10 years that we should pay attention to?
Well, I would say in the next couple of years, we have an economy that's the value of stocks is going down now, just like it did during COVID, and just like it did in 2008 in that part. And so there are tremendous bargains available.
Yeah.
And we're in a position to be able to take advantage of it. And as you said, very few people know anything about how to make a deal. They don't have the intuition. They're not that smart.
Yeah.
And so I can actually go and I can make a deal to say I want to buy shares in that copper mining company.
Sure.
But I'll give you 10% of the price of the stock right now, and I want the right to buy that stock from you anytime in the next 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
And if the stock is $50, I'm going to give you $7 right now for the right for me to come and buy that stock for $50. But I know that it's going to be $100.
Right.
And so I just turned my $7 into $50.
So why did they say yes to that? I mean, they're obviously giving up a lot of potential.
They're not giving
because
up
they
anything.
need your cash now.
No, the guys are Money Man. The guy is a market maker.
Okay.
He buys the stock.
Yeah.
Let's say he buys a copper company stock for $35.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's got it, and he's going to make money because he's issuing the stock. but also he can sell these acquisition rights. He can sell options on it. And you know, there are kids that are buying these options, overnight options and 1-day options and 2-day options. Well, that guy, that's income to that guy that bought the stock.
Right.
He's selling them these options.
And then he buys them back and sells them again.
And then they're doing covered calls. They're doing all this stuff.
See, all that language is difficult to understand if most people don't even get it. I have read a little bit, and I have a bit of an understanding of the words you're using, but I've never fully understood because I did look at the commodities.
Covered call means if I own the stock, I can sell an acquisition right on the stock because I own the stock. So I can sell you the contract that says that you can buy my stock at a certain price that we set.
Yeah.
And then you're going to pay me for that acquisition right if you're smart enough.
Right.
Right. And so that's it works automatically between two people that understand how to make the deal, but most of the world is not smart enough to do that.
It's an incredibly complicated business. It's not as you make it sound simple, but you know what? People understand going to the store, buying an orange for $5, and then maybe going to other people and selling that orange for $6.
That's right.
What people don't really have or have a hard time understanding is buying something for $3, like shorting it, okay, and then selling it later when it goes up in value. So that's where people get really confused. And of course, you've done shorts, but some people believe shorting is.
I've done them, but they don't have to short it. They can.
Or they sell it for $7 and buy it for $3.
There's a stock that's $25.
Sure.
And I make a contract with the market maker that says that I can buy that $25 stock for up to $30 for the next 2 years.
Sure.
And so I'm going to pay $4 for that contract.
But that's going
But that
long,
guy,
right?
it's a $25 stock. He just made $4 profit on it.
Yeah.
And he just made it in 1 day. It's very easy. It's a good deal for him.
No, that makes perfect sense.
But now I have the right to buy that $25 stock for, let's say, $30 or $25.
What if you're wrong? What if it goes the other way?
Well, that's why I have to be careful to only do things that have a great deal of certainty. That's why I'm not interested in new inventions and cooling systems and all that.
Right.
The bottom line is that we're not going to be able to have that other 3 billion people wire their houses and have dishwashers if we don't wire
have the electrical grid.
That's right.
So you can't sell them a washing machine if you don't have somewhere to plug it in.
Exactly. So I'm only interested in doing things that are certain.
It's simplistic wisdom, isn't it?
It is very simple, but
you've simplified a lot of things that people
want to be clever.
Yeah.
Instead of rich.
Yes.
And that's what happens. We got a lot of
clever or
poor
rich,
people.
Is that the option?
Well, they got a lot of clever poor people walking around.
No, you're absolutely right.
Very few rich people.
No, that's so true. You know, Dan, you're one of the wisest individuals I have ever had the privilege of sitting with, and I appreciate your time. I look forward to having more conversations with you.
Well, thank you. That's very nice.
And if it's good with you, I really want to talk to your wife.
Sure. Oh, yeah. No, I think that's where the brains are.
Oh, my God. You're one of the luckiest men, honestly, that I have met.
I would say.
You know, in all the years, all the guys that I've met. And my dad used to say when I was young, I'm Egyptian, and he used to say a woman can either make you or break you. And you found one that made you.
I found one that made me. That's right.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you. All right. I enjoyed it.